What if I told you that one of the most misunderstood fluids in the human body holds secrets that go way beyond making babies? For pretty much all of history, we've looked at semen through one very narrow lens. But it turns out, science is starting to reveal that it's packed with a complex cocktail of chemicals that could affect our mood, our health, and even pregnancy. The truth is a whole lot more fascinating than we've been led to believe. Let's be honest, it's a topic we don't usually talk about with any real scientific seriousness, which leaves it shrouded in myths and just plain wrong information. Today, we're changing that. We're going to pull back the curtain, separate the actual science from the myths, and uncover what this stuff is really made of and what it can do. So, let's start with something you probably didn't expect. Your brain. Can semen actually change how you feel? It sounds a little out there, but the chemistry behind the idea is surprisingly logical. Semen isn't just a vehicle for sperm, it's a rich soup of hormones and compounds that can influence mood, like serotonin, oxytocin, and even melatonin. One of the most talked about studies on this comes from the State University of New York at Albany. Researchers surveyed nearly 300 college-aged women and found something pretty interesting. Women who had sex without condoms reported fewer symptoms of depression compared to those who always used them. The leading theory is that the vaginal tissues are great at absorbing these mood-altering compounds from semen, which then get into the bloodstream. The study even noted that for women who did use condoms, their depression scores were linked to how consistently they used them, which hints at a potential connection. But, and this is a really big but, correlation is not causation. It's a fascinating link, but it doesn't prove that semen was the direct cause of the mood boost. And any potential emotional perks have to be weighed against the very real risks of STIs and unplanned pregnancies. So, while the science is intriguing, it's definitely not a prescription for ditching safe sex practices. Now, what about physical health? You might have heard whispers online that semen is nutritious. And it's true. It does contain things like protein, zinc, magnesium, and fructose. But before you cancel your grocery order, let's talk numbers. An entire ejaculate has only a tiny fraction of what you need each day. For example, it has zinc, but only about 3% of your daily recommendation. So, calling it a superfood is a major stretch. What's far more compelling, though, is how semen quality can act as a window into a man's overall health. Studies have shown a strong link between semen quality and mortality. One large study that followed men for up to 50 years found that those with higher semen quality had a longer life expectancy, suggesting a man's fertility is a pretty powerful indicator of his long-term well-being. And perhaps one of the most incredible areas of research is the link between semen exposure and a serious pregnancy complication called preeclampsia. This condition involves dangerously high blood pressure for the mother. Several studies suggest that long-term exposure to a partner's semen helps the mother's immune system build a tolerance to the father's genetics. This familiarity seems to lower the risk of her body having the immune reaction that leads to preeclampsia. One study even found that women with less than 6 months of sexual cohabitation before pregnancy had a significantly higher risk of developing the condition. Alright, let's tackle the one you've probably seen on social media: semen facials. This idea has exploded online, with people claiming it fights acne and smooths wrinkles. The theory points to two compounds in semen, spermin and spermidine, which do have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So, what does the actual science say? Well, sorry to burst the bubble, but there's no scientific evidence that putting semen on your face does anything for your skin. While spermin and spermidine are real antioxidants, the amounts found in semen are way too small to have any real effect. Honestly, you'd get a much bigger dose of spermidine from eating foods like green peppers or citrus fruits. More importantly, trying this skincare hack is a bad idea. It can trigger allergic reactions, cause skin irritation, and, most seriously, transmit STIs. Skincare experts are all in agreement on this one. Stick to proven ingredients like vitamin C and retinoids, and leave the bodily fluids where they belong. So, it's clear that semen is way more biologically interesting than we give it credit for. From its potential as a subtle mood enhancer to its role as a signpost for male health and its possible connection to preventing pregnancy complications, it's a fascinating substance. But we've also seen where the science ends and the myths begin. The research into mood and immunity is compelling, but it's still early days and needs more investigation. And the whole skincare thing, that's a myth, plain and simple, and a risky one at that. It just goes to show that while the science is cool, it's smart to stay skeptical and always put safety first. What are your thoughts on all this? Did any of these scientific findings catch you by surprise? Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear what you think. And if you're into exploring the weird and wonderful science of our bodies, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's next.